Good afternoon, Nicole Goodell from SUNY Brockport. Thank you so much for your willingness to join us in this kind of new age technology and being able to connect with colleges. This is our third year of doing this. So we're really excited that Brockport was willing to sign on because we had not Skyped with Brockport yet. So I just want to tell you a little bit about us. I know that you're from Long Island, which is great. It's always nice to talk with a college representative who's familiar at least with the demographics of the island. Out here in Southampton, we are not what people think as far as the Hamptons. We are actually a very diverse district. So we're very small. Our high school only has about 650 students, but we have about 40% of our student population at this point is Hispanic. And we have maybe about the same, but not the same population, about the same percentage of free and reduced lunch. So we have students from many, many different countries, a lot of English language learners, and the whole gamut. We also have a fully functioning wet lab where our students are doing marine science research and raising all kinds of marine life. There's 3 different years of that, goes all the way to hatchery management. And some of our students have tagged sharks out on the East End and done some growing of marsh grass and such to try to save the, I don't know, the whatever that's called, aqua life, marine life. And we have a planetarium, which is really, I think, unusual. And we also have a dual language program, which is really the 3 different schools in our district have all been acknowledged and recognized as international Spanish academies by the Spanish consulate. So our students who participate in this program have roughly about 25% of their day taught in Spanish. So by the time they get to senior year, those students will have about 10 credits in Spanish. So they are really fully biliterate. They go all the way they do AP language, AP Spanish language, and AP Spanish literature. So it's just interesting. It's something that's different than a lot of other high schools. So when you see our transcripts and you see students earning credit in 6th grade in language, that is high school credit, and they're in many cases taking what used to be the Regents before they even enter high school.
Oh, wow.
So it's, I always wonder about college admissions representatives when they look at that thinking, oh, that must be a mistake. That can't be possible. But it is. So that's enough about us. We're real excited, like I said, to make this connection, save you the trip, and get this information to our students and families. So with that, I'd love to hear about Brockport.
Sure. So we are one of the 64 SUNY campuses. We're more of your mid-sized SUNY school located right outside of Rochester, New York. We have about 7,000 undergraduate students and 1,000 graduates, totaling around 8 that attend SUNY Brockport. We do have around, our most recent incoming freshman class was around 1,200 students. So just to kind of give you an idea of how many first-year students we do get to come to Brockport. We see close to around 100 of those students actually coming from the Long Island area. More heavily from Suffolk, actually. So, we're a little bit of a diverse campus as well. Our diversity rate is probably around 20% or so. With a lot of different culture clubs on campus that a lot of students really do like to interact and get involved with. We have 50 undergraduate majors to choose from. Some of our most popular programs include business. We have a number of different business programs with a 4+1 MBA option that a lot of students find popular. We have a very competitive nursing program, one of our top programs as well. We're one of the only 2 SUNY schools that offer physical education, along with athletic training. Again, one of 2 SUNY schools. So those are we're pretty big into those sports sciences and sports types of majors. And along with physical education, we do have a number of education programs as well. We're actually founded as a teachers college, so we do have a lot of strength in that education.
Okay, great, thank you. So tell us a little bit about your academic requirements.
Sure. So the middle 50% of students usually comes in with around a 90 overall GPA. We do look at an 80 and up.
Okay.
And then SAT-wise, with the new exam, we're seeing the average is around an 1120.
Okay.
We will consider a 950 and up. We also take a look at the ACT if the student chooses to take that exam as well, or instead of the SAT, and the average is around a 24.
Okay. But you'll consider 20 and up, is that Or
Yeah,
okay.
around there. It really depends, if the student has lower GPA and higher test scores, or maybe vice versa. We do really review the application holistically. So we'll take a look at all the scores, take a look at what type of classes they're taking. We really do, like, I personally like to look at the college essay to see what it makes them unique and why they think they're going to be a great addition to our college. And along with their activities and their resume to see if they're involved outside of the classroom.
Okay, just out of curiosity, when you look at the transcript and you talk about, the 90 GPA is the average, you'll look at 80 or better. Do you take the average that's on the transcript, or do you recalculate the average?
We'll take the cumulative average that's on the transcript. If you guys provide the weighted and unweighted, we'll take a look at whichever one's higher.
Okay, because we don't weight at all. So we got away from that a few years ago, and that's all. The rigor is shown in the course titles, so we don't weight the courses at all.
Sure.
So let's see. What kind of? I know you said you had quite a few clubs and organizations. Any that stand out or that are unusual or?
Sure. Well, what I like to point out is that there's over 120, and that number grows every single year. So I personally believe there's a club out there for everyone.
Okay.
There's one compatible to each major. If you want to join something that relates to your academics, there's, like I mentioned, a number of culture clubs. So if you want to do something that you feel like you're involved in culturally, they perform and create a lot of events on campus. And then additionally, we have club sports and intramural sports to get involved in if you want to kind of stay in that sports type of atmosphere without playing for one of our Division III athletics.
Right.
And like I mentioned, so that grows every year, because if there's not a club that's out there, actually Brockport Student Government, right on their website, they have a big link that says start a club. So they're always looking for students to start new clubs if there's not something that they feel like they can get involved in right away.
That's great. What are the class sizes like at Brockport, freshmen also compared to upper level classes?
So the average class size that we're seeing is around 23 students. For those, freshman prerequisite or general education courses, you might see some bigger lecture classes.
Okay.
Still, it's never going to be 300-400 students in that lecture class. It's probably close to 150.
Okay.
As you go up in throughout your time at Brockport, you'll start to see those smaller class sizes in those upper level courses. From my personal experience, when I was a student there, I was a psychology major, and I found my senior capstone class only had about 26 or 27 students in that. So at that point, it was nice and small, and a nice small cohesive group where I was really able to interact and get one-on-one with my professor.
That's great. So what's the student-faculty ratio?
It's about 16 to 1.
Okay. That's pretty good. Are freshmen required to live on campus?
They are. Freshmen and our sophomores, so your first 2 years, you will have to remain on campus. Junior and senior year, you have the option to move off campus, which is a pretty popular choice. We do live in more of a college town, but housing is guaranteed all 4 years.
Oh, that's good.
Stay until your senior year.
Okay. How about internship opportunities for students?
Sure. I always recommend them. It's a great way to build that resume and to really get hands-on in the career that the student's looking to get into. We do have an awesome career services center that actually puts on career and internship fairs. I know at least once a year, it could be potentially once a semester. They just had one on March 1st actually, and they bring in employers and companies from all over New York State that will actually meet with prospective employees. These students will go and meet with them and network and have the opportunity to potentially get some on-the-spot interviews even, so they can kind of get an idea of what exactly they're getting into in that field.
Right, that makes sense. And study abroad opportunities, I'm sure because you're part of the SUNY system, that students can access that whole database of study abroad opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Brockport itself, we actually have one of the larger programs. So we offer, I think it's 37 countries now in all 7 continents, including Antarctica. So those programs can be done, straight through Brockport. But like you just mentioned, any SUNY school's study abroad program, the student would have the opportunity to choose from to still get the credit back to Brockport.
That's great. How about Greek life? Do you have Greek life?
We do. It is smaller because we are, a smaller SUNY school, but we have 2 or 3 recognized fraternities and again 2 or 3 recognized sororities, and they do a lot of community service on campus.
Okay, that's great. What percent of your students would you say are from out of state?
Definitely a smaller portion. I don't have the number offhand.
Okay.
You know, since we are a SUNY school, we do get most of our students from New York,
Right.
But we do see a small portion coming from out of state.
And with that, what does life look like on the campus at Brockport on the weekends? So, you know, we know about the academic life and people choosing their college majors, but obviously you know that there's a whole lot more to college when you're not in class, so what else?
Of course, it's definitely, you know, you want to know that you're going to be going away to a school that not everyone's going to, it's not going to turn into a ghost town.
That's right.
Again, you know, I grew up on Long Island, and I went all the way up to Brockport, and I absolutely loved it. I found that a lot of the friends that I made and the friends that, or just the other students around me, they were from all over the state. So there are a small number of commuters and students that live, you know, relatively close to home. But for the most part, you know, the campus is still lively on the weekends. Our student government, again, and a lot of clubs will put on, you know, activities and stuff to do right on campus on Fridays and Saturdays. So, you know, it definitely doesn't turn into a ghost town. There's stuff to do around the campus. Just a short walk off of campus, actually, you have Main Street, which has a bunch of different places to eat. There's a bowling alley, there's a movie theater, and actually through Brockport Student Government, they sponsor $1 movie nights on Fridays.
Nice.
It's really popular, so students can go to the, you know, the box office on campus, buy their ticket for $1 on a Friday, and go to the movie. So there's always something to do on campus, whether it's in the middle of the week or even on weekends.
Okay, that's great. Good to know. What would do you have any particular suggestions for a student that might be just below what you're looking for? You know, I know you said that you would look at 80 or better, but maybe just below the GPA and the SAT or ACT, you know, even combining and sliding the scale. Any suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely suggest writing, you know, a killer essay. Definitely, like I said, that's one of my favorite parts is to really get to know the student aside from what, you know, their GPA and test scores tell me. Additionally, you know, I love when they reach out to me and stay in contact throughout the fall if they're in the middle of applying, or even sooner than that, and, you know, the end of their junior year, just to keep, you know, keep themselves on my radar so I can keep a lookout for their application, see how they're doing, because it really, to me, demonstrates that they really have an interest in their in going to college and furthering their education.
Now, do you guys track demonstrated interest, or it's just kind of?
We do. We definitely keep track of who attends our events. We host a number on campus. I also host some events down here on Long Island. We also, you know, track when we do interact with students via email. So it's definitely noted when they do make an effort.
That's important to know. What would you say is the best kept secret about Brockport?
The best kept secret, I think the location of it, just in general. A lot of people think, especially coming from Long Island, that, you know, it's kind of like that middle of nowhere SUNY school, and found that wasn't the case. And I always like telling people from down here that, because you know, it really it kind of helps. It helped me love the area even more. You know, Brockport itself is that college town, so you do get a small town feel. But we're 20 minutes away from the city of Rochester, which I believe is the 4th largest city in New York. So you have that small town life, you have that, you know, bigger city type of atmosphere right next door, and then you know, a few minutes down the road the other way, you know, about 10 minutes, you have the town of Greece, which is more, I think, is the more Long Island-y area. It has you know, a number of shops, it has malls, there's Panera Bread, so it's kind of, you know, in the middle of everything, so you can kind of get whatever type of atmosphere you like.
Okay. Well, how many hour drive would you say it is from, I mean, I know you're from Nassau, we could just add another hour.
From Southampton, you're probably going to look at around 7 to 7.5 hours, just because you guys are super far out.
Right.
But as far as, you know, accessibility to get to the island, to Brockport, you know, our campus is 20 minutes away from Rochester International Airport.
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
You can fly right out of there. It's about a 45-minute flight to Long Island. We also are about half an hour away from Amtrak station, so you can take Amtrak from Rochester straight down to Penn Station. And then we do also have a Long Island and New York City bus home for Christmas break, spring break. I think Thanksgiving weekend they sponsor for as well. It's usually $95 round trip, and they'll take you right down to there's a stop in New York City, and then I believe the other stop is in Comac.
Okay, that's great. You know, I think it's something that students do really have to think about when they're looking at colleges, to say, you know, some students say, I can't wait to go to college and get as far away, but they really do need to think about what it's going to mean, Thanksgiving, and, you know, the holidays, and if they want to come home for a weekend, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved going super far away. I think it was great to kind of change it up, you know, meet a lot of different people. But at the end of the day, you know, Brockport was accessible to home, which made it really easy. My parents never had to come and drive every single time they need to get home.
Right.
My sister goes to a school that's a little bit closer driving, but she's not near that mass transit, so it's a little bit more difficult, even though she's closer, to come home. We usually need to, you know, we usually go pick her up. So for any school that students look into going to, I definitely think it's important to figure out how exactly to get back to Long Island.
Right. It is part of the planning process, especially the students out here on the East End. You know, a lot of their experience has been out here.
Right.
So, you know, just even venturing into the city is a big deal because it's, you know, it's just much more time consuming. Then maybe they take the Hampton Jitney and they've got to make arrangements for that because even the Long Island Railroad runs very infrequently from Southampton to Manhattan. So, anything else that you can think of? Well, tuition, I mean, we know the SUNY tuition. What's the tuition? Just to get it on record.
Yeah, so all four-year SUNYs are around, I think it's exactly $6,470. At Brockport, with room and board and everything included, I believe we're at $20,300. That's before any scholarships or financial aid is applied. But I will tell you a little bit about our merit-based scholarships. Through admissions that students are automatically considered for when they apply. The first scholarship is our Dean Scholarship that starts at a 90 overall GPA. And then if the student has either an 1170 on their SAT or a 24 on their ACT, we'll award them with that Dean Scholarship. And that's a $2,500 scholarship over the course of 4 years. So it ends up being around $9,000 all 4 years as long as they maintain a 3.25 and stay on campus. The next scholarship up from there is is our Presidential Scholarship, and that one starts in a 93 GPA with a 1270 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT.
Okay. And how much is that?
Sorry, that one's $4,500.
Okay.
So grand total around 18 grand over the course of 4 years. So that one almost wipes out an entire year of school, which is awesome.
That's great. That's really great. And it's important, I think, you know, obviously the financial conversation is a conversation for everyone and, you know, with students in so much debt, but also to encourage students to maybe take that SAT one more time or take the prep and then take the SAT or the ACT because it can make the difference. It takes a lot to raise your grade point average in a year, but you can raise that SAT or ACT.
Absolutely, and something else to note is that we do super score both the SAT and the ACT, so we do encourage students to send us all of their exam scores regardless of whether they, you know, think they did a good job or not. Even if they do better, maybe one section of the ACT, we'll recalculate to give you hopefully a better composite score, and then we'll do the same thing with the SAT, is just taking that highest section from each exam that they took.
Okay, that's great.
Sending us all their test scores also shows us, again, you know, they're demonstrating interest in doing well, and, you know, they're committed to going to college, so it's something else to take into consideration.
Okay, I don't know, I think you've covered. Anything else that you would say is unique since you went to Brockport? Like, what was your favorite part of going to Brockport, or something that's different compared to maybe your friends that went to other colleges that you felt you got a chance to do at Brockport that they didn't?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just one unique program, I actually wasn't a part of it, but a program that's completely unique to Brockport is the Delta College program. A lot of students really love that program because it really is about the experiential learning and hands-on learning process. So that is a very small, you know, college within our college. They usually accept around 65 students into that program, and that program actually is not based on GPA or test scores or anything like that. Students who are interested just have to write an essay on why they think they would be a good student in that program, and just let them know why, what they would really find valuable. And that program actually requires students to complete internships in order to complete the program, so it's a really great way for the students to get that hands-on learning experience.
And do students in that program have access to a lot of the different majors, or are there limitations on majors?
It's compatible with every single major, and actually with a very long list. I can't remember all the majors that apply to this part. They can actually graduate in 3 years rather than 4.
Oh, wow.
It allows students to have a lot of flexibility in their schedule. They'll have time to maybe do another study abroad program or to tack on the major or minor that they wouldn't normally have time for. The way the program works is it's basically, they have their own general education curriculum, so they kind of mush the gen eds together to create that extra space. Unfortunately for more rigorous majors like nursing,
of course,
you know, that you're split up into the 4 years, but it is a really great way to again, just get that hands-on experience. And they do also, they'll get specialized advisors and peer mentors in that program.
So what would the profile of a student like that, would that be your student who doesn't meet the regular academic profile would go into a program like that, or it could be somebody who just does meet the regular academic profile but is looking for a different experience, or both?
It could be both.
Okay.
You do have to be accepted to the college before you can apply to that program, so we do still need to see if you're meeting our general criteria.
Okay.
And then if you like that hands-on type of approach to learning, that kind of student would be a better, I think, applicant.
Okay. All right, that clears it up. Anything else? What about the campus? And how is
I think the campus is actually kind of what sold me my senior year of high school. I always tell people I left high school kicking and screaming. I wasn't ready to grow up quite yet. I just wanted to stay young forever, but fortunately, I had to pick a college, and I went to the October open house, I remember, and the minute I stepped on that campus, I fell in love with it. I found it was the perfect size for me. It wasn't a huge, overwhelmingly big campus. You could walk from one end to the other in about 15 minutes or so if you're just strolling. So everything's really at your fingertips, which I really liked. We have 2 dining halls on campus and a lot of different other cafes and shops to go eat in. And all the freshman dorms are pretty much centrally located, actually. So everything's even a little bit closer for our freshmen. We have a lot of brand new buildings, a lot of construction over the past few years, but all for good reason. We just opened a brand new nursing facility within the last year. We put a lot of money into that building, actually. It's absolutely gorgeous. So it's exactly like a hospital, and we have all the simulator hands-on dolls now for that program. We also have this building, I think it's about 4 or 5 years old now, the CERT, Special Events and Recreation Center. They hold commencement there. It's a brand new, indoor track and field with a gorgeous athletic facility right upstairs. So because we have so many athletes and sports-minded students and studies, it's really a great facility.
Okay, that's great. Gives another layer of what Brockport is.
Absolutely.
So, and just to reiterate, I know you and I spoke about this before we started, but you would be the person who would read applications for our students if they were applying to Brockport?
Absolutely. I cover all of Nassau and Suffolk. So I read the applications, I cover all the college fairs and special events that we do down here. Occasionally helping to tackle some of the stuff in the city, but for the most part, everything's based on Long Island for me.
Okay, great. So that's another reason why it's really great to connect with you and to meet you. So
absolutely. I love meeting with all the students around here. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. So if students are interested in meeting with me, and we can share my contact info, but they can also sign up for more information online. Right on our admissions page, and they'll get invitations to all the events that I do host down here, so they can come in and meet with me in person if they like. Okay, great. All right, I think that pretty much covers it, unless there's anything else that you wanted to make sure that we knew about Brockport. I think that was pretty thorough, actually, so I think that exhausts all of my information. All right, great. So thank you, and maybe we'll do this again soon. Awesome, thank you.